a significant investment in salmon recovery is launched.
Students celebrate back to school with free backpacks.
And the Foss Waterway hits the big screen.
These stories and more on Tacoma Report.
Hi, and welcome to Tacoma Report. I'm Laura Proctor.
And I'm Angie Foster. Framed by the pristine forests of the Green River watershed, Tacoma Public Utilities Director Jackie Flowers gathered with U.S. Senator Patty Murray, U.S. Representative Kim Schreier, representatives from the Muckleshoot Tribe, and other regional leaders, celebrating the announcement of a $220 million from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to fund design and construction of a new downstream fish passage at the Howard Hansen Dam on the Green River.
Our coalition supports this project because providing clean drinking water is vital to the people that call this beautiful place home. This is not just our view. This is the view of the bipartisan regional coalition of local and state government leaders, environmental and conservation groups, business leaders, utility executives, and others. In total, nearly 30 organizations have supported downstream fish passage at Howard Hansen Dam.
The Green River Municipal Watershed has been Tacoma Water's primary water source since 1913. TPU works to properly manage our forest lands to ensure water quality and protect sensitive fish and wildlife species. The construction of a fish passage barrier at Howard Hansen Dam will ensure continued stewardship of this vital regional watershed.
For 60 years, this dam has been essential to our communities, but this river has supported salmon for much, much longer.
And it is our responsibility to care for the public lands and the waters we have, and we have a fundamental and foundational obligation to do our best to not just rescue, but to restore them to full health for future generations.
The project, which has broad regional support, marks one of the most significant investments into securing salmon recovery in the Puget Sound region while increasing water storage capacity for Tacoma Public Utilities. For Tacoma Report, I'm Mike Ziak.
Frank Boykin recently joined the City of Tacoma to oversee the Washington Minority Business Development Agency Business Center. They provide technical assistance and business consulting to established minority-owned businesses in Washington State. Mr. Boykin has more than 3 decades of professional, leadership, relationship building, and community experience. MBDA Business Center was established as part of a cooperative agreement between the City of Tacoma and the U.S. Department of Commerce. It's one of 35 MBDA business centers across the country.
A milestone 2 decades in the making has been met. At the end of August, construction crews opened the final 3-mile section of southbound I-5 HOV lanes in Pierce County. The new lane connects the existing HOV lane running from Seattle to Fife with the one that stretches from Tacoma to westbound State Route 16 in Gig Harbor. This program added over 25 HOV lane miles to I-5, State Route 16, and Route 167. In areas where population and traffic volumes continue to grow, HOV lanes are an essential tool. To find out more about the Washington State Department of Transportation and all the ways that keep people moving, visit their website.
Deep in the Green River watershed, snow blankets and covers the fields. Every year, the snowpack is vital to our summer water supply. As our mountain snowpack melts, it releases water into streams during the spring and fills our lakes and reservoirs. The delay between when the snow accumulates and when it melts is one way we predict and measure our summer water supply. To measure and track our water levels, our watershed services team travels by snowmobile to the upper Green River watershed, to elevations about 3,000 feet, to conduct a snow survey. Last May, the team at Tacoma Water measured the snowpack development, calculated the mass, and determined that rain totals are currently on track to remain at or above normal. Visit mytpu.org/water supply for more information and current conditions.
September is Emergency Preparedness Month, and Tacoma Public Utilities wants you and your family to be emergency ready. Natural hazards such as earthquakes, floods, and severe storms can disrupt power and water utility services. There are a number of easy things you can do this fall to keep your household safe during these emergencies. Whether it's a minor event like a short power outage or something bigger like a natural disaster, taking steps now can prevent injuries and property damage in a real situation. Know what kinds of disasters and emergencies are most common where you live and learn what emergency responders recommend. Create an emergency communications plan with your family and store important phone numbers somewhere besides your cell phone. Store important documents where they are safe from flooding. Sign up for emergency alerts in your area or download the FEMA app. Plan where you'll go if told to evacuate, and build emergency supply kits for your home, car, and workplace. You'll likely have many of the items for your kits at home already. A printable checklist is available at ready.gov/plan.
911 is a vital community service.
And when we return, we'll talk with the education coordinator of Southbound 911 on how collaborations help first responders.
Southbound 911 is a collaboration of partnerships integrating police and fire agencies. The 911 Center in Pierce County answers over 900,000 emergency and non-emergency calls annually. Helping us understand how this all works is Jessica Kulis, 911 Education Coordinator.
Thank you.
Jessica.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's get started, Jessica. Can you tell our viewers what is Southbound 911?
We are a regional 911 communication center in Pierce County. We provide services to all the law enforcement agencies in the county and most of the fire agencies. We're a 24/7 operation. We have almost 240 employees. We're a standalone entity, and we're governed by a board of elected officials.
And can you let our viewers know, when should someone call 911?
You should call 911 if you are experiencing or witness to a life-threatening emergency or in-progress crime. The best caller is the caller on scene or with the patient. Our call takers ask specific questions because that information is relayed to responding units so they can determine the appropriate level of response.
Okay.
Those questions and answers do not delay help.
On a rare occasion, I suspect that folks accidentally call 911. In the event that that happens, what should someone do if they do call accidentally?
It happens. Just stay on the line if you can. Let the call taker know it was an accident. Call takers are trained to call back on all hang-up calls. So if that's the case, then that could possibly delay help for a real emergency. So stay on the line.
Okay. And so this is kind of a two-part question. What incidents should be reported via the non-emergency line?
Non-emergency incidents are incidents such as lost or stolen vehicles, lost or stolen plates, lost or stolen guns, domestic disputes. Those types of incidents can be reported to the non-emergency line at 253-287-4455.
And the second part, Jessica, what incidents should be reported online?
So online incidents that can be reported online would be incidents such as vehicle prowls, vandalism, identity theft, fraud. Those incidents can be reported online at tacomasafe.org or org.
Okay. And then who decides how units respond in an emergency?
The police and fire agencies determine the priority level of calls. So once a call is dispatched, the response is up to that agency.
Well, that's perfect, Jessica. We appreciate you being here. Thank you for all the information that you've shared with our viewers today, and we definitely hope to have you back.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. When we return, we'll have a Tacoma success story brought to the screen at the Pantages Theater. It's been over a decade since the city completed a significant environmental cleanup on the Thea Foss Waterway. Stacey Ellifrit has more on a documentary that tells the story of this historic revitalization effort.
For over a century, toxic waste was dumped in and around the Theophos waterway. These contaminants came from nearby industries, as well as through the stormwater system with pollutants from streets and sidewalks.
We had this mistaken understanding that somehow that water would carry away those contaminants out of sight and out of mind. We know now that's not how that works, and all of those harmful materials were actually just settling into the waterway and causing real environmental impacts for years to come.
In the early 1980s, the Environmental Protection Agency identified the Theophos Waterway and Commencement Bay as one of the most polluted environmental sites in the entire country.
The water was really unsafe and really unhealthy for any kind of marine life, let alone people, to interact with in any kind of a safe way. So recognizing that, the city of Tacoma took the lead in developing a cleanup plan for both the Theophos Waterway and the Wheeler-Osgood waterways, and that cleanup effort started in 1994.
This effort was completed in 2006. Years later, the city saw an opportunity to tell this significant story and produced Turning the Tide, an all-new feature-length documentary.
And it tells the story of this historic cleanup and revitalization of the Theophos Waterway. But it's not just an environmental success story, it's also a community success story, telling the story of people coming together to solve a problem that ultimately breathed new life into downtown Tacoma.
The community is invited to attend the Turning the Tide documentary premiere event on Thursday, September 22nd at the Pantages Theater.
Doors will open at 6 p.m. for a reception, and showtime is at 7 p.m. And after the film, we'll be featuring a panel discussion with the filmmaker and some local leaders that were involved in the project. The event is totally free and open to the public, but tickets are required. So anyone can get their ticket right now at cityoftacoma.org/turningthetide or at the Pantages box office just before the show.
Don't miss this opportunity to learn the history of the cleanup and revitalization of the waterway and be inspired to do your part to protect this important resource and ecosystem. For Tacoma Report, I'm Stacey Ellifrit.
To reserve your free tickets to the event or to learn more about the documentary, visit the city's website.
5 Tacoma Police Department officers wrapped up a summer camp with 22 children from the Tacoma area. Officers Jackson, Hadow, Tiegler, Haberzettel, and O'Rourke took part in the annual law enforcement youth camp, providing a free camp for children in the area. Campers are 9 to 11 years old who officers encounter through their jobs in law enforcement or who are referred to the program by teachers, school counselors, churches, or social service organizations. During the week-long event held at Sunset Lake in Wilkeson, Washington, kids get to do horseback riding, crafts, and many similar activities. The program allows youth a chance to see law enforcement officers in a different light. Children get the opportunity to meet police officers out of uniform in a positive setting, a connection that can last a lifetime. The camp is run by law enforcement officers and employees throughout Pierce County and began in 1974. For more information about Law Enforcement Youth Camp, visit leyc.org.
Drum circles to Buffalo Soldiers brought Hilltop's Martin Luther King Jr. Way to celebration status during the 7th annual Hilltop Street Fair. The closed street was packed with families, vendors, and even jugglers. The weather was one of the few cool August Saturdays, too. The Hilltop Action Coalition sponsored the event and say thousands attended the fair that has been on hold during the COVID pandemic. Log on to their website for more information on future Hilltop activities.
It's festival time at the Tacoma Arts Live Armory. Festival Latinx comes to the Armory Saturday, September 24th for an afternoon of family fun. This cultural celebration features plenty of music, dance, and food. Latino communities of the South Sound will be represented with visual arts and crafts and performances during this free family day. The festival is sponsored by Latinx Unidos of the South Sound and Tacoma Arts Live.
Free backpacks with school supplies came to Tollefson Plaza. Green Trike's Back to School Festival launched into full swing last month. Hundreds of anxious students came to the festival, taking advantage of hundreds of free backpacks and school supplies. There were live performances, a DJ, dance party, food trucks, and special business discounts, helping students and their families get a good start into the new school year. This is the second year of Green Trike's Back to School Festival in downtown Tacoma. It's the area's most playful event for pre-K to 12th grade students. Check out their website for more information on other events and opportunities.
That wraps up this edition of Tacoma Report.
A great way to find out about the services the City of Tacoma has to offer is by going to cityoftacoma.org.
We leave you now with a parting summer view of Mount Rainier. See you after the first week of fall. Thanks for watching.